Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and we are back with more reactions for The Walking Dead's final season, this time on to episode number 4. You may well notice episode 3's reaction is actually missing from the channel, both the shortened version and the full length. And that is because in the in the kind of not necessarily hurry, but just in the midst of me deleting older files that had already older videos that had already been uploaded, and like a bunch of other older files I didn't need, like in the kind of midst of that, I and also actually in the midst of actually deleting files for older Walking Dead reactions, I unknowingly added the video files for episode 4's reaction into that pile. And it literally wasn't until a couple of hours later when I actually decided, okay, I'm gonna get down to editing episode 3's reaction now, that I actually realised, oh shit, I just actually deleted a bunch of stuff a while ago. Chances are it ended up in that pile. So yeah, episode 3's reaction then was nowhere to be found, and I've tried various file kind of recovery methods in the past, and for me personally, not many of them have truth be told, like none of them have worked. So it's a problem for me. It is a problem deleting stuff before I could like especially when it comes to actual files and stuff for videos and for reactions and everything. It's just it's a problem. It's an actual problem. So my deepest apologies for that one. It was a fun reaction too. It was an actual a good reaction to have recorded, and then it just never saw the light of day again. So yeah, so hopefully you are seeing this. Hopefully you are seeing this on the channel, and episode 4's reaction goes up smoothly with little to no issues whatsoever. So yeah, but yeah, episode 3. So we had a fun episode 3. We had Negan and Maggie kind of traversing the rest of their kind of territory amidst the attack of the Reapers, and the Reapers attacked, and they attacked, and they attacked, and they just kind of crept out of all corners and threw knives and daggers and all sorts of stuff, and they were just kind of like spreading the group out and then picking them off one by one. And we said goodbye to Agatha, who was actually eaten by walkers. She was overwhelmed by walkers, and then Negan carried Maggie and Alden away to prevent them losing any more people. So we said goodbye to Agatha. We said goodbye to Cole. Cole was killed by a Reaper. Duncan was killed by a Reaper, and we actually watched him say goodbye to Maggie one last time and stuff. So I think, yeah, Agatha, Cole, and Duncan. I think Elijah was dragged away, but we never actually saw him die. So I'm hoping that he's actually still alive. So that leaves at least, I think at this point it leaves at least one member of the Meridian group, of the Meridian Fighters group, actually left kind of standing. Hopefully Elijah is still out there somewhere. But then they ran into Alden. Maggie ran into Alden and Negan, because they were kind of doing their own thing, and then they actually ran into her, and then Reapers attacked, and then Negan saved Maggie's life, and then stuff happened. So then they were trying to get to shelter, and then because Alden was injured, he couldn't really go on anymore. So they kind of left him in like a fairly well fortified kind of old abandoned church place with some rations and a kind of switchblade to defend himself with. I thought then, and I still do think now, I think the other kind of option for that is maybe, just maybe, for him to, if Maggie and Negan don't make it back with the food from Meridian before he bleeds out and dies, then maybe he might actually just opt to off himself in some way that he actually doesn't come back from. So yeah, other than self-defense, it could also be like a quick way out, but then hopefully they do make it back in time so that we don't lose Alden. But yeah, Negan and Maggie, now we're going to see them, how they deal with the journey going forward, and how they actually learn to cooperate and stuff with each other, and hopefully they make it through Meridian in one piece. And I think maybe if like the majority of the Meridian fighters and people are meant to be, if the majority of the Reapers are meant to be at Meridian, then they might have an even bigger fight on their hands. So yeah, I have no idea how that's going to go, but that'll be fun to see. So we had that. We had Father Gabe killing a Reaper. He kind of caught himself at a crossroads with another injured Reaper, and he had like a screwdriver or something sticking out of his leg, so he just kind of limped along and found the Reaper bleeding out, a tree trunk and everything. So Father Gabe, I mean, yeah, he's like, I think he's not necessarily left God behind, but he is just kind of, he's like, like before he killed the Reaper is just like, don't worry, I'm not afraid, and God's not here, so you can save all your prayers and all your beggings for mercy for later on, once you actually reach the pearly gates up there and everything. So I think Father Gabe is changing. I think he's been you know, I think I feel like he's been on like a fairly constantly changing course, you know, since he joined the group way back when. But I think now it's like, you know, like now, and especially with the bonus episode last season, he's just been like, you know, he is a changed man now. He is a very, very changed man. I think he's not necessarily dropping older beliefs, but he is kind of fortifying them for like a more kind of brutal and more kind of changing kind of world, and to kind of help better prepare him for the trials and tribulations ahead. So I'm very curious to see how the rest of the season treats him and how he treats the rest of the season. So that should be fun to watch. So there was that, and then on the calmer side, on the arguably much calmer side, we had Rosita and Magna and Kelly and Carol working together to try and get back some horses for Alexandria and to actually get some travel back. And they ended up killing one. I didn't clock onto it immediately. I was super duper confused initially as to why she was slitting the throat of one horse and draining it blood, but then after, in like the very next scene, you know, Judith walking into the room with like a plate full of freshly cooked meat, I was like, okay, so one of the horses is to actually keep them all fed, and then the other ones are for actual travel and everything. So yeah, so they had a fun time actually trying to pick up some horses and even discovering like a nearby stable and everything. So that was cool. And then Rosita, I think Rosita talked to, it was Magna or Carol, either one of them, about how she actually has recurring dreams about Abraham. She has recurring dreams about Abraham, and he's kind of giving her these messages warning her of Alexandria's future and the community's future and everything. And he's gonna, and like she feels like he's telling her something important, but then before he can actually finish, or before he can get to the more obvious kind of stuff, then he actually dies from a headshot, so like from a gunshot to the head. So yeah, even in her dreams he's dying. Even in her dreams he is dying straight to the head. So yeah, so curious to see how that might get further elaborated and further fleshed out and everything. So that should be fun. So we have that, and then I think we also had Magna actually kind of warning Carol against kind of trying to goad Kelly into friendship through the hope of rescuing Connie too much, and being like, you know, don't give her false hope. If you're going to do anything, just don't give her false hope and everything. And then Magna, of course, wants Connie back alive, but then she also does want to be able to prepare for like an easier mourning period if they have to accept the absolute worst. So yeah, everyone is going through something right now, which I think isn't unusual for the show. It's pretty much like the nature of the show, as of like the past kind of, you know, seasons and everything. So yeah, fun stuff ahead. Very, very fun stuff ahead. So hopefully we make it out in one piece at the end of this episode too, so, or at least in as many pieces as possible. So yeah, that is pretty much all I can remember from episode 3. So on to episode number 4, onto the reaction, and as you guys all know, this one will just be the fair use version, so the best bits and the highlights of the episode. But if you want the full length version, then that one will be over on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. That'll be just as much fun. So yeah, The Walking Dead, season 11, episode 4. Let's go. Oh, back to this scene, back to flashback. Okay, Daryl. Did Daryl get any injuries? Oh, please let Dog survive. Oh, God, did Dog get any injuries? Tell me Dog's okay. Tell me Dog makes it out of this. Oh, no. Oh, jeez. Oh, God. Oh, God. Come on, Daryl, come on, you got this. Oh, God, I'm really worried for Dog. I'm really worried for Dog. Oh. Dog! Oh, there's 3 more of them. Oh no, there's 3 of them. Oh, jeez, oh no, tell me Dog's okay. Who was that? The guy just threw Dog off like a hill or something, or off like a ditch. Oh, the Reapers are still, even in daylight they're chasing him. The Reapers are still after him. Who's this one? Who's this? Those eyes seem very familiar. Oh no, the dog! Yeah, those eyes seem kind of, I don't know, they seem kind of familiar. Is it Leah? I feel like that's a bit of a stretch, but I can't help but wonder, like, could that be Leah? Like, just could it be Leah? Is that Leah?
Let him go.
Is that Leah? That's gotta be Leah. It's Leah, isn't it? It's Leah! Leah's a Reaper! Leah's a Reaper! Oh my god! No wonder Dog was not afraid to be next to her.
We're gonna go. Come on, boy. Come on.
That's funny.
What's funny?
He's back with
I
Leah
always
now.
like you better.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Wow. So Leah comes back. Leah comes back and she's a Reaper. Yeah, I knew those eyes that looked so familiar. I knew those eyes. I'd clocked those eyes almost immediately. Yeah. God damn. Can't help but love that switcheroo of where, like, you know, after all this time with Daryl, Dog still sticks with Leah. As soon as she returns, he still goes back to Leah. She looks good. She can't, you know, besides the Reaper kind of stuff, she looks good.
I came back for you. I'm sorry you ended up with these people.
These people are my family. They never stopped looking for me. When they found me, I came home.
Wait, so she mentioned being with a squad of people before?
You're filthy.
No, that's a personal choice. Oh god, oh, what's she doing? What's she doing? Nowhere was that chloroform. No, just no. Oh boy. Oh gee, oh god.
I ain't one of them. Bullshit.
Oh god damn it. How much more of this can he really take? This isn't the best way to be reunited with your ex, is it? Huh. They have other prisoners. Or at least one other prisoner.
Yeah.
Then
Is that you?
he knows him? He knows Daryl? Who is that?
But nothing.
I genuinely
Shit
can't.
back or grain does not make me give a shit about you.
Oh god.
Understand?
I really can't tell who that is.
Whatever beef you have with these people. Should have let you starve.
Okay, alright. I guess he's going method. He's gonna go method for this then.
I'd help you if I could. You know I would. Just give me Dog. Let me go. You'll never see me again.
You say give me Dog, is he gonna go with you? He didn't come when you called him the first time round. Oh, he's back with Leah now. Wow. Oh. Is this Shaw? Is this Shaw? He looks like a Shaw.
God, he's here.
Oh.
He's angry. I'm angry.
Who's angrier?
Don't make them feel our wrath.
Oh, God. So this is just more brutal and even scarier savior stuff all over again.
We were. Then we went private.
You didn't tell me you were a merc.
What does it matter? It was the same damn job. So we could actually pay our bills.
So this was the original squad that Leah mentioned in the bonus episode.
Because despite everything, I still care about you, and I don't want anything bad to happen to you. So you need to tell me something. Anything. Because if you can't, I can't control my commander and what he will do next.
Yeah, he's a very angry guy.
He's angry about Turner,
Hmm.
and he wants someone to pay.
Is that Pope too? Is the Shaw guy Pope as well? Because the Reaper mentioned to Maggie Pope upped you. So could that guy? Is that Pope and Shaw the same person?
He's a tall, skinny guy. Never shuts up.
Negan? Oh, Negan's quite tall. And fairly skinny. And he never shuts up.
I just see a guy who wants to get in your pants. Fine. Who couldn't stop gazing at somebody he loved.
I never said he loved me.
Oh. You could have ended him out there today. I believe in you more than the others.
I'm sure he's happy to hear that,
You think we can trust him? Now let me see for myself.
No, now he's gonna go meet Daryl. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
You got something to say? Shaw ain't nobody's girlfriend. I'm betting she wears the pants with homeboy here.
Oh, Shaw is Leah. Leah Shaw. Leah Shaw, okay.
Hey!
They're both locked in? Oh, they're setting the place on fire. Yeah, oh, they're setting the place on fire. Jeez, you can't even trust your own people now, can you, Leah? Can't even trust your own damn people. Oh, Jesus. Oh. Damn, they're really doing this to Leah, huh? Really doing this to Leah. Yeah, there we go. Pop those planks. Pop those planks. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Oh. Jeez, their knees were singed. Was this a test or was this an actual attempt to take them both out? This was trying to take them both out, wasn't it? Oh, Jesus. Oh, so this was a test. This was a test. They turning him into a Reaper?
Welcome him!
Oh. This was turning him into a Reaper. Oh. Initiating him into the group. What? They want him to be a Reaper?
They wrote the checks. We weren't anything today. Just props. Props for the next campaign.
Weapons of war.
They talked about God. That war damn near ruined all of us for good. Came on, my guys had permanent injuries. They couldn't sleep. They couldn't find real jobs. People called us mercenaries. Did all the ugly, dirty work nobody else wanted to do. Got paid for it, too, handsomely. The real dirty work started after the fall.
Taking out the dead.
Oh, the things we did. All that death, day after day after day. I started to feel like you. Wondering where God was. Found this little church at the edge of town, and we hold up there as everything, and I mean, everything burned around us. Not a trace of blood. No burn marks. Not even a scratch. We were the chosen ones. These men upon whose bodies the fire had no power. God chose you tonight.
Oh, because he survived the fire. He made his way out.
You came out of that fire alive and whole.
Are they gonna feed him? Because not all of them like him. Are they gonna feed him? Well, Pope's here. They have no choice. Yeah, they're gonna follow his orders. Oh God, what's...
I just have one question.
Oh, he's gonna kill him, isn't he?
Sure. Something's been bothering me.
Oh, he's definitely dying. He's dying.
Bruce,
He is dead.
we're on your back.
Hope. It's been a rough day.
Just getting clarity. Sure.
Oh, jeez.
We all saw what you did. Getting Shaw out of the fire first, and you felt it.
Yeah.
Huh? Today, God baptized you in that fire. Made you one of us. Here's one thing I forgot to tell you. Never turn your back on your brother. God doesn't only use fire as his baptism. It's also his wrath.
Oh God. Oh. Oh, jeez. He's. Wow. He's really killing Bossy. Oh Christ. Wow. Oh, jeez. Oh, the visual, the visual.
Way around! Into the battle!
Oh boy, that visual.
Into the fire!
Ah. Oh, jeez. That Reaper theme as well is just ominous. That's the end. That is the end of the episode. Wow, okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. So yeah, that I did not expect this to be a Daryl-centric episode, so that surprised me. That surprised me. I thought, well, we might carry on straight from Finning and Maggie stuff, but I guess they still want to keep us kind of. They want us to wait. They want to keep us around, so they want to actually keep us waiting for that one. So we actually stick around for this one. But this one was good nonetheless. This one was like pretty heavy and intense nonetheless. A kind of not even I mean, I would say perhaps some backstory, but not like a visually intensive one. I think this is just one of those more like, what feels like a glimpse, but then easily also kind of adds up to so much more than a glimpse of the Reaper. I think a glimpse of the Reapers, but then they also do kind of actually try and deliver on some kind of backstory and some kind of actual first impression stuff. And my God, these first impressions were pretty dark. So yeah, but yeah, Leah returned to us. Leah Shaw. So Leah Shaw, Pope and Shaw aren't the same person. It's Leah Shaw. So yeah, Leah. Yeah, I recognized those eyes initially, but then I think her frame as well, like she's a lot slimmer than the rest of the Reapers. Like the rest of the Reapers actually kind of look bulkier and more kind of like just bulkier and like generally kind of wider and stuff. But then her, she came in, she looked a lot more like like nimble and like slimmer and stuff. So I was like, okay, this one's different. So must be someone that like seems surprising or someone that we haven't really met before. So that was one thing. But then like her eyes, like I think. For her eyes are surprisingly. I don't know if this is intentional because I don't know if they're actually expecting people to catch out that it might have been Leah or to theorize it might have been Leah before she actually took the mask off. But then her eyes are so much more prominent on her mask. Like for everyone else, like their mask seems to at least try and cover and at least try and conceal their identity and everything with like eyeliner maybe or some other kind of stuff underneath. But with her, it's like her eyes were just kind of practically piercing and popping out of her mask and everything. So I feel like that might have been like a detail we were expecting to actually pick up on. And then especially once she recognizes Daryl, and then once she recognizes Dog later on, like her eyes actually go wider and wider, like wow, after all this time she's finally reunited with them both and everything. So yeah, and I think I immediately just caught on to like it feels like that's Leah. It really feels like that might actually be Leah. And then of course once Daryl hears dogs barking again, and then he goes back to try and find him, and then I thought we were about to lose Dog too. I think the guy literally just kind of picked Dog up and then threw him, like not even across the forest, but just down what looked like some kind of like a cliff or like a ditch or something like that. I thought he literally just kind of, I mean, I was anxious the moment Dog was there, like just barking and just not really getting into the middle of that fight until later on, because I thought, oh, like if this guy still has any weapons on him, he will easily try and use that on Dog or something. So I thought I was super anxious to ensure that Dog survived it, but then the guy threw him off the edge. So I thought, oh, like okay, best case scenario, he threw him into a ditch and we can still try and get him somehow. But worst case scenario, he threw him off like a hill or like a really kind of deep kind of drop, and then Dog just ended up falling to his death or something. So either way, it's still kind of worrying. But then no, Dog was fine, and he still kind of stumbled into the day the next morning. So that was good. But then, yeah, Maggie actually took her mask off, and it was finally reunion time and everything, so that was cool. And then I think even more kind of twisting and slightly shocking, but still sensibly shocking, was Daryl actually, incessantly calling for Dog to come on and let's go and everything, but Dog's just, he's not even barking back at me. He's not even responding. I was half expecting him to bark, be like, no, Leah's back, I'm back with her now, but he just like, no, just sitting right there, not even moving a muscle, just like sitting on his hind legs and everything. So as soon as Leah comes back, Dog's just running straight back to her. So, which I mean only makes sense because he was with her first. He was definitely with her first. So only really makes sense. So now Dog and Leah are reconnected. So it should be fun for them to looking forward to Dog sharing some of the stories with Daryl. And I think, I mean, hey, it's a good thing. It's a very good thing that dogs can't communicate with humans, because otherwise, Dog would probably be ratting Daryl's ass out and preventing him from joining or even surviving a night with the Reapers at all. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think I was kind of surprised seeing her with the Reapers, because then I wondered like did she leave to go join the Reapers? Did she meet the Reapers for the first time after she left her original cabin, or what happened? But then I think the further we got into it, and then she actually kind of the more I saw her in that kind of Reaper suit, and she looked great, by the way. Like, you know, I mean the Reapers, I mean, you know, even if they are bad guys, like the Reapers do still have some pretty badass looking get-ups, and Leah especially. So Leah looked just great, brother, just great. But no, I mean, the more I saw like how well she fit into that mercenary scene, and like how natural it looked, and then the more she talked about the Reapers and mentioned them, and actually mentioned that, you know, the Reapers are my family, like they never stopped looking for me, and then when they found me, I went with them and everything, and then I remembered from that kind of Leah bonus episode, I remembered her mentioning that she actually used to have, like, I think she vaguely mentioned military history, but then she also like she specifically mentioned having like a private squad that she used to run with, and then when the fall happened, they were together until people started dying off and everything. So, I mean, I vaguely remember her mentioning people dying off, but then in this one, Pope says that like no one else died on, and after the fire and everything. So yeah, so then the Reapers were her squad, the Reapers started off as soldiers. They started off as soldiers, and then even before the fall, they became mercenaries. I think even this one, there was that backstory as well, like how they turned into mercenaries because of like necessity and the need to survive and everything. So then they became mercenaries, and then the fall happened, and then they kind of literally used that training to fight to survive against anything at all. And now they've become the Reapers. Now they have become the Reapers. So yeah, so she's reunited with her old squad, her old squad again. So she's found her people again, her natural kind of environment and element and everything. So that's good for her. Good for her. She's found her original family, and now she's back with, you know, like back in the arms of safety and people and everything else. So that's fun. And yeah, I mean, Leah, I think in this one, they definitely went down the route of her formerly being the steadfast and kind of, more kind of level-headed kind of Reaper, and like being able to do stuff no problem, but then as soon as she runs into Daryl, a very, very romantic face a very, very familiar face from her more romantic past and her more personal past in general, then she, you know, like she is noticed and seen kind of holding back and, you know, being more gentle and not killing him immediately, and actually opting to actually take him in instead, and doing all that stuff. So then kind of Pope then does kind of naturally kind of question like, oh, well, you know, like, you know, deep down, just, you know, admit you do still care about him, and, you know, like if he was anyone else, you would have easily put him down in the forest, no questions. But then because you know him, because you've had history with him, because of all this and that, you then opt to take him in instead and actually, you know, keep him alive and stuff. So yeah, and I think, you know, I mean, and I think he even mentions how he trusts her and he believes in her more than the others and everything. So now I think he is gonna. And I think because she's been with them this long, she's survived this long, and I think maybe because he knows her to be good in any other case, he is kind of willing to trust her and actually, you know, put his trust on the line. Which I think later on down the line, I can see that kind of speech coming. Like, you know, I believed in you, I trusted you, you know, you've been with us, so then because of that, I put my trust in you, but, you know, don't make me regret it, don't make me actually need to make an example out of you two and everything, because I think he definitely does seem like that kind of leader too. Like, he just seems like a much more, he seems like a Negan 2.0, which is actually, you know, somehow kind of working too. Like with Negan, I think Negan, you know, he, you know, had the kind of, you know, like undeniable kind of level of psychopathy and sadism behind him and everything. But I think with Pope, I think he has like that kind of military history that actually kind of has so much more of like a brutality and like a ruthlessness to it. It's like, you know, with him, it's all about discipline and consequences and order and then that kind of stuff. Actually, and I think this group still being like a squad of pre-fall kind of mercenaries and soldiers and stuff like that. I think he definitely kind of like still believes in those kind of drills and those kinds of ideals and those kinds of codes and everything. But with Negan, it's like with him, he just kind of ruled with a very, very fierce and kind of iron fist, and he just kind of kept people in line using fear and control and politics and stuff like that. So then, so with him there was that, but with Pope you see that there is no kind of he doesn't really seem like he doesn't seem a lot like a second or third chance kind of man. I think depending on how he sees you, there is like it feels like second chances are a scarcity, and you should feel you should consider yourself lucky if you ever get them. But then Pope just doesn't seem like he believes in third chances or just multiple chances in general. Like he gives you a job, you do it and stuff. So I think with Leah, she might be one of those lucky few. She might give her a second chance to do something, and then that's where he draws the line. So yeah, and I think with Pope too, he just seems terrifying so far. He seems terrifying, and he was one who assembled them too. He actually assembled their original soldiers kind of group and actually kept them fighting through the war and everything. I think even like the way he definitely like the actor for him is a great kind of actor with like monologues and speeches and actually kind of conveying that kind of messaging in these kind of lines and everything, actually kind of conveying like emotional kind of backstory and actually conveying like the darkness in their backstory and how they only had each other, and actually coming off as coming off as like a soldier and mercenary turned leader, like someone who started with like very little and then actually kind of pushed his way to the front and actually became the leader and actually kept people together, and he prides himself on his ability to keep his team together, but also to keep them in line and to get with to do what needs to be done. So yeah. And even Pope actually talking about their kind of more about their origins as a team and as soldiers and everything too, politicians using them as weapons of war and seeing them as nothing more too, even back in the more kind of legal days of war and military service, like them just kind of being used to do whatever in Afghanistan, doing various tours and actually doing missions, and they were seen even back then as nothing but tools, nothing but weapons of war. They kind of give them missions and then they're expected to do them and everything. And then even before the fall, they became mercenaries too, and they actually I think they became mercenaries because the soldiers that came back from the war, like members of the team that came back from the war, actually couldn't find real jobs. They weren't really kind of given the kind of help or aid in coming back from war and actually trying to reintegrate into normal life again. They weren't given the help that they were needed. So then the only skill sets and experience they had was actually being soldiers and actually killing and doing that for money, even if it was for actual kind of more kind of public service military members, actually getting that much less and not really getting anything else coming back. So then they became mercenaries and actually got paid even more. And I think they were just seen as I think for them they were seen as doing dirty work even when they're actually in the military. But then actually going into mercenary work, they were just kind of doing the dirty work that no one else wanted to do, getting their hands dirty for other people and actually getting paid money for it and actually being able to live off of that kind of work too. So soldiers turned mercenaries. I think mercenaries too are actually known to be people who actually kind of because they kill for money, because they actually take on that kind of work and they actually go into that line of work because going into that kind of contracted work too actually kind of allows them to actually forces them to be that much more efficient and that much more kind of ruthless and that much more kind of skilled in killing too, because in that line of work you don't really get much of a choice. You have to kill and you're paid to kill. So I think that must have definitely aided them actually becoming as brutal and as ruthless as they are now and everything, and actually they're actually perfecting their strategies as a team too, actually picking people off and spreading them out and divide and conquer and all that kind of jazz. So yeah, soldiers to mercenaries. And then I think he mentioned this might have been also just before the fall too, or maybe as as a cause of the fall. I mean, he mentioned the fall also being like a battle that he had never seen before in his life. Like he thought his hardest battle was actually happened before the fall, like actually killing people and actually trying to like traverse that kind of working environment. But then actually the fall came, and then everything just went to hell, and then they're there to kill anything and anyone who tried to harm them or stand in their way and everything. So that was the hardest one. But I think he also mentioned another one. I think this might have also been just before the fall. I think this one was also like a way for them to stay alive. But then politicians actually. I think this one might have just been after been just after the fall, perhaps. I think he mentioned this one, which was the politicians actually trying to bring the war to them too. But like politicians who knew that they were mercenaries, and then politicians who likely even actually funded their mercenary work and everything, actually giving them all these different kind of dirty kind of work missions to actually do and everything, and actually just like using them for even more kind of off the books kind of stuff and stuff and stuff that they wouldn't want regular kind of soldiers to take in their hands with or anything like that. And then basically politicians' way of covering up loose ends and actually trying to reduce any risk of information like that getting out. Then they tried to set bombs on the Reapers, and then they managed to burn down like an entire church that they were hiding out in. But then with Pope, that was kind of like his an epiphany moment and his moment of revelation and everything. Actually looking around the next day and finding out that literally all of his people had actually survived. Like no one had any scars, no one had burns, no one had a scratch on them. Everyone came out kind of unscathed and everything. So then for him, that was his epiphany. That was for him, that was pretty much like the reaping almost. Like for him. Or at least for him, like less the reaping and more like the baptism of God, because throughout his entire life in the army and his entire career kind of being a mercenary, he always like kind of claimed he found God everywhere, and him and his people were the ones who really kind of experienced and saw God everywhere they looked. But then politicians would use God as a way to kind of convey their campaigns and their messages without understanding what it really meant. But then he knew that he was seeing God everywhere, and he was experiencing God everywhere he went. So then for him and his people surviving that fire at all costs was for him the sign that God was on their side, and God was actually rebirthing them into the world as these new people and as these new kind of warriors, as the chosen ones, like they were chosen by God specifically to survive and carry out the work and kind of survivorship that they were destined to carry out and everything. So yeah, they've had a rough history. They've had a very, very adventurous and dramatic and intense and damn near death-defying history to them. So yeah, and then yeah, because of that kind of baptism by fire that Pope and his people went through, he then believes that is the initiation for. I think maybe for anyone, but I think there was no sign of there being anyone else who that they actually took into their group, because I think this group seems fairly kind of close to what the original roster might have been or should have or could have been and everything, like minus like Leah. Like I think Leah is certified to be one from way back when, but I think and like anyone else like Carver or any of the other men, I think like there's no sign as to whether or not they were there from the beginning or whether they were picked up after the fall. But either way, I think Pope has decided that like the initiation and the kind of test for whether or not someone is destined to be a Reaper is to put them in like a burning building. So I think I initially thought it was actually just Pope being like like Pope's way of telling Leah like no, you're too connected to Daryl, and that means that you won't be unconditional or like actually accurate in your judgment of him or in your kind of way of actually getting information out of him. So I think that I thought he was actually burning down the building to kill both of them, which I think like before finding out all this information would have actually been a fairly accurate judgment to make. But then no, it's actually it's testing one of two. It's testing two different things. One of which is like if Daryl actually gets out of it in one piece and unscathed and everything, then he is destined to be a Reaper on that hand, and he's or at least like maybe not destined, but he's actually good enough to be a Reaper. He actually meets that kind of like criteria like physically. But then also like if he actually also sticks together, because then he killed Bossy because Bossy didn't really stick with his power, and he just kind of let him get murdered, and he actually just kind of turned and ran from the fight and everything. But then Pope believes that Reapers should always stick by their brothers and sisters and actually kind of stick with them and actually carry out the mission together and everything. So then Daryl actually getting Daryl actually making sure that Leah got out first before he jumped out of the burning cabin actually showed that he was willing to he was willing to risk it all. He was willing to risk it all to save Leah, and he was willing to make sure that she got out okay before worrying about himself. So then that shows kind of loyalty and companionship and bravery and all that kind of stuff. So I think these would all be. I think these would definitely all kind of be definitely be qualities you look for in like a soldier as well, like a soldier capable of surviving damn near any mission, but also actually one capable of actually following the code and looking after their kind of other kind of friendly soldiers and actually looking after their fellow kind of combatants and everything. So yeah, I think Daryl made it as he passed the test. He passed the test. I think he clearly doesn't want to be a Reaper. He just kind of got caught by them because he found out that Leah was one of them. But then he clearly he would make for a good Reaper. But then I think whether or not he actually wants to become one. I mean, if Leah wasn't here, I think he'd be he wouldn't even be in the situation in the first place. But then he also kind of would be that much less conflicted to stick around or actually to try and actually be here and everything. But then I think with Leah being here too is like his first time seeing her after after she left her cabin and left Dog with him. So because of that, he feels that much more conflicted and that much more kind of desperate to get her back and everything. In some sense of the phrase at least, but. Yeah, no, I think that is also like the more kind of intriguing. I think the intriguing part of it also kind of makes sense too. The fact that he actually survived it is not really much of a surprise. I think he really has kind of been through a lot. So I think if he didn't manage to survive that, then it wouldn't really speak kind of volumes to how far his character's come, or or what he should be able to do. But then also the fact that he can pass those tests. Just kind of goes to show that he is the ideal candidate for a group that he doesn't agree with. Because I think, especially because he spent so long kind of protecting Maggie. He spent so long protecting Maggie and the original group. I was telling them that he doesn't know them. He tried to make up stories as he went along. He kind of traded with them. They gave him food and stuff, and then he went on his way. And even the other guy in the other cage, I think I still don't recognize who that guy was or how he knew Daryl, but I think he was part of the original group or part of one of the groups that Daryl was originally with. So then Daryl kind of got him into method acting and actually told him to just kind of deny any kind of connection, deny any kind of knowledge of who he was and everything. So he tried to bring him in on the plan too. So that worked, I think, temporarily. But yeah, he just kept on kind of disconnecting from Maggie and actually trying to separate himself from the group as far as possible and actually hoping they believed him, which they didn't, they didn't initially. And then I think towards the end, after further conversation with Daryl and after further conversation with Leah, he did actually mention that, he didn't mention her name, but I think he did mention that, the woman that the Reaper spotted back out on the road. That was he mentioned the woman and said that she was the leader, and then he mentioned a tall, skinny guy that talks a lot and stuff. So I think I think Negan is fairly tall. He's also pretty skinny. I think maybe especially now too, after being a prisoner of Alexandria for a couple of years, he's especially skinny after that, and then talks a lot too. I can definitely, undoubtedly imagine Negan falling under that particular criteria too. So that's something else. So yeah, I mean, just yes, I think that might have been. I think he didn't really point out everyone either. I think he doesn't know who else survived. I think for one thing, he doesn't know who else survived that he could actually kind of maybe very kind of sorrowly kind of throw under the bus. But then also I think those two would be the main that they're looking for. I think Negan is what he just kind of he doesn't want Negan to die, I don't think, but he also knows that Negan can maybe handle himself a little better. And I think he also expects that Negan would actually kind of have the know-how to help both himself and Maggie kind of escape the Reapers if kind of actually hopefully assuming that Maggie is with him and stuff, and that I think he kind of hopes that Maggie can survive them no matter what. But then he also kind of expects that Negan would have the know-how to avoid them and to actually deal with them if push came to shove. So he did tell them about the woman being the leader, and then mentioned the tall guy who was skinny and talked a lot. And then I think following that, I think I'm really hoping we see the next introduction of the Reapers after they're given this intel too. The next meeting between the Reapers and Negan after they're given this intel too, because then I think that way that they'll easily be able to spot Negan too. Because I think Negan will just be on the spot, trash talking them and taunting them and stuff, and they'll just be like, yeah, this is definitely the guy that talks a lot and everything. So then he gave them that kind of very, very minimal kind of intel. So hopefully that kind of does keep them off the radar just a little bit and actually kind of help them kind of survive just a little bit. So, and actually kind of get him on their good side so that for now he doesn't die, but then later on, if a rescue mission is in tow, then yeah, but I think I'm still really, I'm curious as to like why because I think he was definitely present. I think he was definitely present in that. I mean, yeah, okay, so I know why, I know why he didn't ask, because then that would have given away that he actually knows more than he's letting on, so he couldn't really risk asking questions like that. But then I think yeah, so because I was gonna say he was definitely present during that forest fight where the other Reaper said Pope marked you to Maggie. He actually revealed why the Reapers were after her and why they took down Meridian too. So he definitely knows about that. But then if he actually mentioned that, then he would have given away more than he wanted to. So. Yeah, but I am still really curious as to why, because I'm hoping this isn't just like another kind of Saviors thing, because with the Saviors, Rick they killed some of the kids, some of Hilltop's people, and then Rick took some of his people and then killed the Saviors people, and then so that was that, and then because and then after that Negan sent his people to kill Rick's people for killing Negan's people, and then Rick killed. I mean, we know how the story goes. Negan himself very explicitly stated it. So I think with that one, it was retaliation that led to more revenge and more control and everything like that. But then I'm hoping this isn't just a repeat of that. Like it's not just a case of like, oh, your people came after us, so we killed them, and now and now Maggie's been marked by Pope for death and stuff. So hoping it's not just a rerun of that, because yeah, I mean, I don't know, because I mean, so far we've seen them hunting and killing people that they've marked, people that they've actually targeted for death and everything. We haven't seen them doing any raids. We haven't seen them actually doing any kind of senseless killing or senseless hunting or like robbery or anything like that. So I'm kind of wondering, like, maybe, like, I don't know. I'm just kind of really curious as to how like Maggie would have actually like jumped onto or fallen onto Pope's radar and why she might have been marked. I think because I can't imagine her, like, I definitely can't imagine her seeking out another group and killing them out of like anger or malice either. So for her it must have been a retaliation thing like a retaliation or self-defense thing that then led to her being marked by Pope for killing his men. So yeah. And then we had Bossy, Michael Turner. Michael Turner, he was actually one of the more original members who actually ran with Leah back during their original tours in Afghanistan. So he was like a little brother. He was with her from the beginning, and then that was like losing like a really close family member. That was a harder loss to deal with. But then Bossy made it back, and he made it back with wounds on his back and everything too. And I think I could just like from the first scene we saw of him, like Bossy on the floor kneeling in front of, kneeling or sitting in front of Pope, and Pope was like standing over him, all intimidatingly, like Mercer was back in the reprocessing room in the Commonwealth and everything. I think from that moment, I could tell that guy must be the leader, and also this is the kind of guy who punishes you without hesitation. He punishes you without hesitation, without remorse. He punishes you to actually get the message through and everything. So that much was expected. But then also I think especially like that final scene where he was just kind of getting really up close and personal with the boss too, and actually kind of talking to him from his behind too. I could tell, okay, yeah, Bossy's definitely dying. Bossy is definitely dying. So RIP to him just from here on out and everything. And then like the more questions he asked, the more he inquired about the truth behind his kind of scenario with Turner that got Turner killed and everything, and like the wounds being on his back too. Because unless your enemy gets behind you or you turn your back, then there's not really much of a way for there to be wounds inflicted on your back either. So there's our question. So then that kind of shows that he not only turned his back on his enemy and his brother, but then he also potentially ran away too, and then actually only went back in after Turner was dead, and then actually used that as an excuse to be like, I couldn't save him, but I brought him back, so you can actually bury him and everything. But then Pope wasn't having it. He was just, he wanted clarification because he knew it was bullshit from the beginning. So he wanted, and then once he clarified that it was bullshit, he then actually used that as a way and a reason to make Bossy an example. So then So then, yeah, he showed that, you know, God doesn't just baptize through fire, he also kills through fire. He also uses fire as his wrath, and then he just throws Bossy straight into the fire head first, and actually keeps him down there with his foot and everything and stuff. And that reminded me of like I mean, Negan, as a punishment, he uses the kind of boiling hot iron where he actually scalds your face and everything, and, you know, like he uses that as like an actual marked punishment of what you do when you cross him or lie to him in any way. But then that one episode he did also just full on just throw that doctor dude into the fire and keep him there until he burned and everything. So fully reminded me of that one. And actually, I think that may also be kind of somewhat kind of like symbolism to show that this guy is Negan 2.0, but with his own organic kind of origins and his own kind of organic kind of intimidation and character traits and everything. So I am very curious to see how we progress with Pope and his intimidation tactics and his kind of order and his order and discipline and everything, and also his ways of killing moving on. So yeah, but I mean for the Doctor guy, I think we didn't really get much visual. We definitely didn't see much of him besides from his body actually kind of like his lab coat and everything actually slowly kind of being engulfed in flames too. We just kind of like saw like heard screams for a few seconds, and then the guy kind of very quickly kind of roasted to death. But then with Bossy, we saw visuals of his skin being third and fourth and possibly even fifth degree burned, and boils showing up everywhere, and his just skin just being burned to oblivion, and just him slowly dying that way too. Just like for this one they actually showed visuals. For this one they actually definitely showed visuals for Bossy's death. So yeah, Pope is not someone to be crossed. Pope is not someone you want to cross. He's not someone you want to disappoint, and he's definitely not someone you want to lie to. So again, very like Negan kind of 2.0 kind of vibes here, but I am still kind of like actually curious to discover more about Pope's character, and so far really entertained by Pope's character so far as well. So yeah, but yeah, that is, I think, doesn't really. I mean, I feel like I said I've said like a decent amount, and I've pretty much ticked off everything from my notes I want to talk about. But I think, yeah, I mean, this episode had pretty much everything. I think it was like primarily kind of drama kind of centric too, with backstory and all sorts of like, you know, different, you know, character stuff being contained into this, and not like huge amounts of action. But I think, you know, like I think Walking Dead has definitely kind of shined before in this department. So I think I definitely enjoyed this episode regardless, and actually seeing Leah back again was really fun, and seeing where she goes from here back in the present day with the Reapers and everything is going to be really interesting, and actually moving forward with the Reapers now, because I think seeing their faces now actually kind of somewhat seeing their faces and actually having their backstory in this episode too actually humanizes them a lot more too, because I think before it was just so much easier to pass them off as these brutish kind of psychopaths who killed everything in their way and killed anything that moved, like I think especially with the guy in the forest and like the masks they wear and the get up they have and how they operate and everything. It's just it was so much easier to actually kind of characterize them as just like really brutal kind of psychopaths and like, you know, just like malicious killers. But now we know that they are trained killers because of what they did before. But now I think it definitely seems like that like it actually manages to put like a face and some sense of really twisted kind of humanity to them as well, which I think actually makes them all the more interesting. So yeah, so now I'm really curious to see how we move forward with the Reapers, and actually and Daryl being within their midst, and actually Daryl being recruited into them apparently too, like Pope actually enthusiastically welcoming Daryl after he shows promise and skill and stuff like that. Actually seeing them reuniting with Maggie's people should be interesting, and seeing what side Daryl takes. I mean, he would like you know, I think he would without a doubt take Maggie's side too, but I think, you know, with Leah being there, I think that kind of accurately and sensibly kind of complicates things just a little bit more. So yeah, it'll be kind of curious to see where that kind of takes us and how the Reapers move forward now. And actually, I think I'm definitely just kind of like just looking forward to seeing how Maggie deals with the Reapers now, and how we kind of watch Maggie deal with the Reapers now that we know more about the Reapers, and now we know more of their backstory and where they come from and what they do. But I think I'm definitely I think me personally, I definitely do want to see more of how they operate and exactly why they're hunting Maggie specifically before anything else happens. I think for that reason I think the next episode might be going back to Negan and Maggie, and actually having Maggie showcasing her own kind of backstory to Negan, actually kind of telling him about her own experiences with the Reapers and how they attacked and how they took down her people and exactly what they did, and showing that kind of thing. So yeah, so that should be fun. But yeah, that's it. That's pretty much all I've got from this episode. So that was fun. That was The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 4. So as always, thank you guys so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn that like button. Comment on what you thought of the episode and what you think about it next time on The Walking Dead. Once again, the full-length reaction for this episode will be available over on Patreon, so you can go check that over there. And yeah, that is it. So, I will see you guys next time.